I really cannot stand people who are not my family talking shit about my family.
Right.
I can say stuff about my family, but I don't want you to be saying stuff about my family, you know?
Yeah, one of the things that becomes really, really difficult in a relationship is the way that people will talk about their in-laws. These are the people that brought the person you love into the world. So no matter how messed up they are, because of them, all of their faults and warts and all is why you have that person. So by dissing them, you're kind of also dissing something within your partner. Hi, and welcome to the Interracial Couple Podcast.
My name is Cera. I'm Black.
I'm Matthew. I'm white. And on our podcast, it's not all black and white.
No, it's not.
We are, but it's not. And this week, right now, if you've been following along, we have a different background for the last few weeks. We came to Los Angeles to stay with Sarah's kind of adoptive American family, your host family.
Yep. So I am lucky enough to have two families. I have family in Kenya and I have family in Los Angeles, chosen family in Los Angeles, that I'm very close to. And I've lived most of my life in the US at home. And this feels like very home to me. And so when we were coming down from up north, Northern California, I was very excited because I've been living in Kenya for the last year and a half. And I was just excited to come home because I do feel really that LA is home, you know? So I was really excited and I noticed that you had some, I don't know how to say it. You were not as excited as I was.
Well, definitely not. But it was not only the excitement. I was really happy to be able to come down and spend time. But there was another aspect of that, which was that I also was like coming into spending a lot of time basically with the in-laws.
Correct.
And not just like spending a lot of time, but spending a lot of time, because the way kind of the rules of the house are right now is when you come, you don't leave. This is a quarantined household. And so it's been very like 24/7 in each other's space. Which was, like I said, it's great, but it was also like, I felt like we needed to address a couple of things. One is that we're going to be in each other's space. Two is that the family is very, very close.
Yeah.
And I'm
very
like
close.
an outsider coming in. Like I've spent plenty of time with your family here, but it's always been, we're going to go, we go over for dinner, we hang out, we watch a movie, we watch a basketball game, we watch the Oscars, we cook a meal together.
But has not been like living together with us.
Right.
And yeah.
And I'd often felt before that like a little bit awkward in the space, because it's always been like I'm a guest. And one of the things that shifted in a lot of ways is that the last time that I was here actually was over a year and a half ago, before we went to Kenya.
Yeah, and before we moved, we used to live very close to my home. So we were like, 5-10 minutes walk?
Yeah, it was a 10-minute walk away.
And I remember like we would have an argument and I would just walk home. So it's in some ways like you felt like I would go home to
complain about me.
True. And I did.
So then also like particularly during that time, after we'd have some, an argument or a disagreement or whatever, you'd come here, hang out, and then the next time I would see everybody, I'd be walking in and be like, "Hi guys, yeah, I'm the jerk that Cera was talking about. That's me. Remember all those things that she said? By the way, I know you haven't heard my side of the story. You clearly must think my side is not important because you've got to choose an alliance with someone and it can't be me."
But I think that's where you went wrong. Like my family doesn't choose sides. Like, of course they would listen and then they would be like, call the bullshit on me if I was in the wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, but even still, like there are always these little things that always kind of play. And And I think, I mean, I've noticed that in, even with other people, right? Or in past relationships or whatever, is that when you have, even if there's mutual friends, say you're in some kind of, and you're married, you're in a relationship, and you have these people that you got to have someone you can go to when things are challenging, where you can speak what's going on. And I think one of the things that happens is that over time, there can be those people that are sort of there to be the dumping ground, to be like, this is what's wrong with my partner. And then how does your partner feel comfortable in that space? And I just wanted to really address it. And so we addressed it, where we actually sat down with your host parents and we're just like, there are kind of two parts of this reality. One is that we are now going to be together forever. We have to be conscious that I'm
Wait,
coming
did you
into
say
the household.
forever? Just kidding.
Yeah, I'm in. I'm all in. Boy, after the ladies of TikTok got all over me for my last joke about how long it's going to be, I was like, no more jokes. I can't take the TikTok hate and vitriol. So
you signed yourself all
so
out.
I was like, basically not. Great. I was going to go with it again, not because I want to, but because I'm afraid of the ladies of TikTok and YouTube making comments and making me feel like a terrible human being. But really just kind of a conscious, really an awareness that if I'm going to come into this family, it has to be something that we are aware of. And it can't just be like, oh, we're just going to kind of hey, yeah, this is the boyfriend. That's going to be the fiance. That's going to be, the husband is going to be and I think it's one of the things that's really important to kind of share is this awareness around entering into a family.
Yeah, because you come into a family, especially for couples who, like us, who have decided we're in a committed relationship and we're going to spend the rest of our lives together, hopefully.
Unless you kick me out, of course.
I think it was important for you to feel as comfortable as I feel at my home. Mm-hmm. And I don't think just assuming that you're going to be comfortable is actually, I think, what always make people feel very uncomfortable going to in-laws. But knowing that there is going to be time to adjust and time to talk about building the relationship. Some people just assume it's going to be automatic. Just because I chose you as my partner now means my family needs to adapt to liking you.
Yeah, and there's two things. One is you're stuck with me now. You're stuck with me as the son-in-law, and for me being you're stuck with them as your in-laws. And I don't want to be stuck with anybody as an in-law. I want it to be actually an amazing relationship. And also, one of the things you talked about with my kids is that you don't want, at some point, the relationship with my children has to be not, we are stuck together because I'm marrying your dad, therefore, now that's the basis of our relationship. It's okay at the beginning, but at some point it actually needs to take the next step, which is we actually have to choose to be in relationship and build our own thing. And yeah, there can be a relationship where you say, you know what, if this wasn't because of this family connection, I wouldn't go there.
And it's still the glue, for your kids, you're still the glue, but I feel I've worked on building my own relationship with your kids that's separate from that I'm dating you as their father. So, but you're still the glue between us.
Right.
You
Makes
know,
sense.
But it doesn't mean that we only talk about me being with their dad and them.
And I think you can talk about the glue, but the other thing is that eventually, if you bring real awareness to it, at some point that relationship will stand on its own. And one would hope that if in 10 years, no matter what happens between us, nothing is going to happen between us. Nothing that's not, nothing that we can't fix. But let's just say, just hypothetically, that your relationship with them can withstand that it stands on its own and it's special enough.
And I think for some of your kids, not some, but I think all of them, there is, I'm closer and I've built my own relationship with them. Yeah. That's that's independent of you. And I wanted the same thing for you with my family.
Yeah, I need to be able to feel like I don't can I only come over here if you're here? Because if that's the case, then it's just about, then I'm like the appendage and they are the people I go see because of you, as opposed to, or even like walking around the house or going into the kitchen and grabbing a bite to eat. It's like, am I going in to take, food from someone that's just a friend, or am I going to share in the food of family? Those are completely different things.
Yeah. And so after we talked, do you feel like you are more comfortable with my in-laws? Not my in-laws,
my in-laws.
Your in-laws.
Absolutely. And it was just a really like open and raw conversation that took like 3 hours.
I know.
And we did it in a council space where we had a candle and a talking stick, and everyone kind of had an opportunity to be really honest. And it wasn't a matter of being comfortable or being nice. It was a matter of really being honest and saying, if there's anything that we don't address here, that we don't bring up and speak, any problem that you have with me, any problem I have with you, any lack of the comfort of, oh, I'm passing you in the hallways is awkward. If I pass my dad in the hallway, it's not awkward.
No.
If I pass my kid in the hallway, it's not awkward. If I pass you in the hallway, it's not awkward. If I pass your one of your extended family or even one of your immediate family in the hallway and I'm not close to them, and it's like, do I say hi? Do I smile? Do I look away? Like, what do I do?
Do I behave like the nice son-in-law that I am? Or I want them to think I am?
Yeah. So then it's like, right, exactly. That's another thing. Is it kind of performative? Am I being not totally authentic because I have to be like a good in-law or I have to be a good guest or whatever? Whereas, when I watch you with them, like, you say things in a tone of voice or in a very direct way that I'm like, I don't have the permission to do that because I'm not family.
Yeah.
But, that was the beginning of it. But I would hope that over time, like, I can actually have that same kind of
authentic voice.
Where I can actually just speak.
Be you.
Yeah. Like even the other night, we were deciding like who was going to cook when, and and I did a lot of cooking over the weekend and was just kind of feeling burnt out, and like nobody was taking Tuesday. I was like, I just didn't want to cook. And I'd cooked Monday, and I'd cooked almost every day over the weekend, not like the main chef, but I had been in the kitchen every day. And there's a lot of us here, so we kind of take turns, and it's really nice. And I was like, but you know what? I'm the guest. I should step up, as opposed to being like, I'm part of the family. I can be like, hey, you know what? I was in the kitchen 3 days straight or 4 days straight. I don't want to do it today, and letting that be okay, as opposed to I should because I'm the guest, and the guest kind of needs to pull a little extra weight.
And I want to be liked by them.
Yeah.
So do you think you're comfortable at this point?
It was a really necessary step.
Yeah.
And I know it's not something that was like, oh, we had a 3-hour meeting, therefore it's great. Like your relationship with them as someone who came in and was adopted by the family later in life, you didn't have one conversation be like, oh, now I'm the kid, now I'm like an adopted kid. It's totally different than that. It's like, no, it's something that actually requires...
It's a relationship that's been built over, over 10 years. And
I think that's like, can sometimes actually be a misnomer in any relationship, is that, oh, is there my dad? He's going to love me anyways. It's like my wife, she's going to love me anyways. Or, whatever. It's like, no, not at all. Like they might love you, but you still absolutely, relationships take work and put it in.
I think that's also like the things I see that ruins relationship is the assumption because they're my parents, I can do whatever I want. But I think relationship are like good relationships are two ways. Like we need to work on the relationship and it's always growing and evolving. And that's why you have such a good relationship. And not just with like parents and like child relationship, but I think even as couple is like, I just can't assume now that you're stuck with me for the rest of my life. Like it's expected that you're going to love me unconditionally and do all these things just because we're in a committed relationship.
Right. And I think that it can certainly lead to a certain laziness in a relationship. I read this article the other day about why marriages basically fail. Like, why do you have a great relationship and then you get married and then it starts deteriorating? One of the headlines was around that, like, okay, I know I've got you, so I don't actually have to focus on this relationship because it's good. You know, it's like I don't need to worry about getting a couch once I have one. I get to be like, I have a couch. I don't have to think about getting a couch. But a relationship is not a couch or a table. Like when you have a relationship, you need to continuously be thinking about it. Whereas with a couch, you got it. You don't have to think about it anymore.
Yeah, I've been I think I'm intentional. Like I remember when I went to college and the people were making all these friends and I was like, I don't know if I have the bandwidth or the capacity to make more friends because I already don't have time for the friends that I have, and I want to build deeper relationship and evolve and grow with my friends. And so I was like, I don't make friends. And for years I would be like, I don't want to make friends.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm very clear about that because I think like I have really good friends and like really deep friendship with people in my life, but it comes with work.
Yeah.
You know, it just, not because we developed it 10 years ago that I expect that it's going to be there. And for friends who I haven't talked to in about 10 years, is like, when I call, is like, yeah, they're those friends like you, even if you spend so much time apart that you can kind of like just go from where you left it. But I just feel like, yeah, every relationship is like a plant. It needs to be watered. It needs to be taken care of. Mm-hmm. You know, there's just, it's time consuming.
Right. Some are more like trees and some of them are more like, and some are more like delicate flowers that need more work and some need
like
less.
My relationship with you
delicate
is like
flower.
Definitely.
Yeah. Needs regular tending.
I'm like a tree, but you're like a delicate flower.